Hello, everybody. So we're just going to give it just a few more moments. Let me tell you, I am so excited. And let me start by saying, if you have been following me on any of my social medias, you know I came back from Amsterdam not feeling well. And so I'm still recovering from that. So please pardon me if, I have a couple of coughs or sneezes during this live. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm so excited. All right. So, welcome to the producer's table. This is a new podcast that I'm starting that I am super excited about. So if you are excited with me, I need you to let me know. Don't just leave me out here, feeling like I'm talking to nobody. But part of what I have been doing is gearing up for this announcement. And the announcement is not just the producer's table, it's so much more. And I am just so excited to share it with you. So I have some notes so I don't miss anything. And you guys just drop a heart. Let me know if you are feeling me, if you are excited, if you are ready to take this journey. So I cannot believe that I finally get to announce it. I want to introduce you guys to Story and Strategy, the Producers Lab. Film, field, stage, where producers are made. Now, this isn't just a course or a class or a moment. This is a true creative academy. It is a platform. It is a movement built by a producer for producers. It is a one-stop shop for serious creatives who want to lead with purpose on purpose. So let me tell you, I'm so excited. Let me tell you what it is. Well, first of all, we have a physical home right in Tucker, Georgia, a creative co-working space where producers can meet, producers can network, brainstorm, and build. Guys, I have curated a space made specifically for strategy sessions, for coffee conversations, for writing days, for auditions, rehearsals, production meetings. And if you're not local, don't worry, because Story and Strategy is also a virtual hub with everything you need to grow and lead as a producer. We have courses and digital guides. We have live virtual meetups. It is a global, do you hear me? A global community of producers just like you. So whether you're in Atlanta or New Jersey or Las Vegas or all the way across the globe, you belong here. Now, at the core of Story and Strategy is the Producer's Lab. And I really want to talk about this because it is a 12-week immersive cohort for serious, intentional creatives. And listen, you are all invited to apply. Doors to the lab open in the fall. Now, if you are a new producer, or if you are someone who has produced before and you're looking for a place to really refine your systems and gain some tools and have a sharper approach, then this cohort is for you. It's only for the serious producers. Each participant will complete one of the following: a short film, a micro documentary, or a stage reading. And I'm only taking 9 creatives total. I'm taking 3 creatives in my film track, 3 in my field producer track, and 3 in my stage track. And let me make one thing clear. Story and strategy, this is not about executive producing. Okay. We're not pitching. We're not chasing investors. We're not fundraising. We are making. We are producing. We are building real work from start to finish. So this isn't for everyone, but I'm going to tell you who this is for. This is for the emerging producer who's getting started and needs some clarity. This is for the working producer who's been figuring it out and is now ready to level up. This is also for the multi-hyphenated creative. Okay, I know so many of them. That's the actor, the writer, the director who's been producing out of necessity and now wants to do it with intention. It's also for those who've already created amazing work and you're ready to move into bigger rooms, larger productions, and more strategic leadership opportunities. If that's you, then you belong here at Story and Strategy. So I want to just talk to you about why film, field, and stage. I built this lab with 3 tracks for a reason. Film, that's where the story is scripted, scheduled, and structured. Field producing is where it's unfolding in real time, on location, in interviews, in the unknown. And stage is where everything is live, immediate, and emotionally driven. These are 3 very different producing experiences, and they require different muscles. Now, I have worked in all of them, and I want to help you find the one that you are called to lead. So, I named this story and strategy because I truly believe this is a formula. The story is the soul, the strategy is the structure. Without the story, it doesn't connect. But without the strategy, it doesn't get made. So the lab lives in the middle where creative meets clear because we're not just dreaming, we're executing. And so if you go to Story and Strategy right now, storyandstrategy.com, I have a free guide for you. So what does a producer actually do? This is a great starting spot. It's a practical breakdown of film, field, and stage producing so you can stop guessing. But more importantly, it's an opportunity for you to get on the mailing list. Now, I also have 2 activations coming up. So you want to produce. These are my 90-minute hands-on workshops for those who want to stop guessing. In Atlanta, we are meeting up June 29th, New Jersey, July 13th. We're also coming to North Carolina, Tennessee, Las Vegas. Now, these activations are intimate, focused, and transformational. And they end with what I love, which is a networking hour to connect and build with others in the room. So if you're serious, definitely pull up. But if you can't make it in person, we have an exclusive virtual experience that is dropping this summer. So definitely get on the list, stay close so you could be one of the first to register. Now, something that I am so excited about is the ebook Nook. So y'all know in real life, I love books. I love reading. I love audiobooks. So I have an ebook Nook that's a part of the producer's lab. And this is where strategy meets action because they're real tools, real gems, digital, dropping them all summer. I have 5 things every producer should know. I have Talk That Talk, the lingo you need on any set that's coming soon, mastering the interview, how to pull story from trauma with skill and care. You guys know a lot of what I do is field produce for true crime and getting an interview that helps tell the story from someone who's been through a traumatic experience takes skill and care. I also have something called Who's Who in TV and film, which is a cheat sheet for roles and responsibilities. And I have the theater blueprint. Theater is where I got my start at. So I absolutely love theater. Theater is my heart. And we also have the producers table, which is what you're watching right now. The Producers Table is a bi-weekly show for producers who want to go deeper. Every other week, I'll be dropping gems, and I'll be sitting down with producers who are doing it and doing it well. We'll talk process, we'll talk pressure, because there's a lot of pressure in producing, production challenges, and how they have built their careers behind the scenes. And this is our first episode, and I cannot wait to introduce our guest. And so Producers Table will be every other week. So make sure you put me on your calendar and you are ready to pull up a chair and join us at the Producers Table. So here's the thing. You already have the heart. I know this because I'm deep into the indie community. I'm deep in it, you know. You have the heart. What you've been waiting for is the how. And I have over 2 decades of experience to help show you the how. So if you go to storyandstrategy.com, you grab the guide, join the list, come to an activation. And if you're ready to go deeper, apply for the lab. Applications are going to open in June. The lab starts this fall. This is your season. This is your season to lead with clarity, with confidence, with story and strategy. So I am so excited. Oh my goodness. And so today's my birthday. And on my day of birth, I am just so happy to announce something that I have been working on for a while. It is also the birthday of Story and Strategy, the Producers Lab, film, field stage, where producers are made. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so excited. I got that off my chest. So now it's time to work. However, why we are here? Because I have an amazing guest. And I cannot wait to introduce him. But you know, we're just going to share a little of his work, and then I'll be back to let you know about Mr. Nasir.
Better not still be sleeping. Time to rise, shine, and grind.
You are not ready. Unstoppable dynasty. Young Hova.
I'm a hustler, baby.
Hustler.
I just want you to know.
Gotta let you know.
It ain't where
Girl, you was getting on my nerves.
about to go.
Top of the world.
Young Hova. I just wanna love you.
Just wanna love you.
Be who I am.
Know you love me.
And with all this cash.
More money, more problems.
These songs, I'm saying that these songs.
Now give it to me.
There's nothing down but failure. Look up for success.
Forever and ever, and never ever at the Saxon.
I'm thrilled. I couldn't be happier.
Like we from Lagos, Mansa Musa reincarnated. We on our levels, that's a Billy.
You can't expect everybody to have your vision, right? But what you got to do is make it clear as possible.
84, Mike in 79, Biggie in 97.
This is the time where absolutely anything is possible.
Give me the sommelier. I'm on Latage, helmet when I jet ski. You know the vibes hit my head. Forget I'm me. Oh my God, without the God and the XY, I'm afraid the whole game will be colonized. The marathon will be televised for NRP. Cause true kings don't die, we multiply.
Everything that has been created in the world has been created by somebody who is just like you.
Now let's do this.
This is your time to show everybody what you already know.
Yeah, okay.
You can sit with something you created and like it. It's a success.
I thought the presentation was so outstanding.
this. Oh my goodness. So, our first guest sets a high bar. Nasir is a two-time Emmy nominated NAACP Image Award winner and GLAAD Award winning producer, director, and writer. His acclaimed short film, Black Boy Joy, won the NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Short Form and currently streams on HBO Max. He also produced All Boys Aren't Blue. Let me tell you guys, this book is amazing. Now, he was a part of producing the movie, and it earned the Audience Award at New Fest and GLAAD's Special Recognition Award. His credits span from VH1, BET, OWN, MTV, Bravo. I know I am not mentioning them all. And he recently got accepted into the Mara Brock Akil's writer colony. If you know, you know. This is huge. And he recently shadowed the amazing director, Miss Banks, on Netflix's Forever, premiering May 8th. And this year he's set to premiere 2 films. And he is proving that his voice as a storyteller is only getting louder. It's an honor to welcome him to the producer's table, Nasir. Round of applause.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my goodness.
I've gone live on my IG as well, so I'm trying to get into this, all of the technological things. But I'm here. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, Onyx. It's so good to see you too.
Oh, it is so good to see you. I think you're amazing. I loved having just an opportunity to work with you and meet you. And one of the things that really stood out to me is just how kind you are. Like you really lead with such a gentle spirit. And I feel like that's challenging in our industry.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah. Also, because people, I don't know if it's the height or or the baby face or the smile. People be trying to. You kind of always say, like, don't forget, I'm from Southwest Philly, so I'm nice until I'm not. But ultimately, yeah, I'm a sweetheart. I believe that you can make really great content with great people and have a really beautiful, healthy, fun environment too.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think energy matters so much. And when you have all the players on the team who understand the leader's energy, it really helps everybody navigate what happens in production life.
Yeah. I like, look, what's the saying? Like, a fish thinks from the head. So you can tell things from like the top down. You can, when a leadership is a mess, or when the big EP and the lead producer and the director, if they all beefing, or if there's an issue there, it trickles down and you can feel it, you can see it, and it can become quite a mess for sure. So yeah.
Absolutely. So we are here at the producer's table, and I want to talk everything producer, because I know you are multi hyphenated, and I love that. But one of the things that I just want to start with, like, what does being a producer really mean to you? Like, beyond the credits and the logistics, like, what is a producer?
I would say a producer is an executor. Did I lose you? Are you there?
Oh no, I'm here.
Okay, cool, guys. Okay, it's just me full screen. Sorry, I'm new to this, but a producer is someone who executes. A producer is someone who gets it done. A producer is someone who's like boots on the ground, getting out the mud, problem solving. A lot of it is problem solving. A lot of it is managing people. A lot of it is I always say, like, when I'm producing, I always feel like I'm not a father yet, but I always feel like I become a father of, like, depending on how big the crew is, overnight, a father of that many people, because you step out of your car, you step out of the production van, and there are upwards of 10, 15, 20, 30 people coming at you at one time, being like, hey, I need my check. Hey, the actor's late. Hey, this is going on. And I'm like, okay, cool, got it. All right, I'm gonna get you your money. Okay, wait, I'm gonna do this. Okay, wait, I'm gonna do that. And then you have to kind of really, I always say, when I'm in producer mode, when I'm the lead producer, I have 35 people running through my mind at the same time. So it's literally anything from making sure that, like, if my host is, vegan, vegan, gluten free, and allergic to nuts. It's like, okay, making sure like their food is good,
Right.
to making sure we don't go over budget, and everything in between that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's a special skill to multitask like that. And make sure that you are meeting everybody's needs at once. What is like at the core of that allows you to be able to, multitask and kind of see from a high level?
I think a part of it is just like time in, like skinning the game. You know what I mean? Like I'm a much stronger producer now than I was at so and so age. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like when I remember, like, I was doing this show at MTV, and I was 25. I was like 25 at the time. And honey, you couldn't tell me I wasn't ready. I was like, oh, I could do this. I'm ready. Da, da, da. And I, quite frankly, was not ready. Like, I was
Right.
not ready, and I needed more time and development, because I was like so stressed out and exhausted, because I was managing a crew of like 10, and we had
Mhm.
different locations, and I just wasn't ready. Now I could do that, do that in my sleep. But a part of it is like just time and development. I
Yeah.
think something that I've seen, there's a lot of people walking around here that are really underdeveloped.
Yes.
They are really underdeveloped, and they're calling themselves producers and cinematographers and directors. And I'm like, ish. You know what I mean? Like, you of course, like, be in pursuit, right? Like, be in process, of course. But it's like, are you really developed enough? Have you
Right.
really taken the time to kind of like hit every rung on the board, and figure out, like, have you been a camera assistant, and then a second cam, and then excuse me, a second AC, then a first AC, then a B cam op, then an A cam op. I was like, have you climbed the ranks to figure out how to properly set up the shot? You know what I mean? And so, like, a lot of it for me is, um I am a natural born producer. I am a natural
Mhm.
born leader, but those skills have really been cultivated over time, and over I mean, you can Google this, but over the last 2 decades,
Right.
I'm kind of going on there. But it's been cultivated over time to be developed into it. So yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that you said that because, producing is like aging to me. I feel like when you're younger and you think about getting older, you don't take into account that what you are really getting is not years, it's experience. And
Absolutely.
so when you are a producer, the more that you are in the ring, whether you're producing or not, even if it's just a PA or you're on the set or you're volunteering, like that's building your muscle because it's
Absolutely.
experience that's really going to help you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I remember, like, real quick, like, my first paid PA job out of college was, I was a production associate at VH1 production management in New York City. 1633 Broadway. All my Viacomers, well, now Paramount people, they know that building. That's the OG building, ninth
Yes.
floor. And I supported about like three production managers and one coordinator, and part of my job was to go do contracts every day and just highlight the deal terms, and put that with the payment schedule, and put that with the invoice, and then get everyone to sign off on the invoices, and then take it up to account, and then take it up to accounts payable, and then get the check cut, and then send the check to like the third party production companies. And at the time, all of my colleagues, we all sat in the pit, call it the pit. We all sat in the pit, and they would be like with the Backstreet Boys and Sync, and they would be, they would be doing TRL, or they would do like all the fun, sexy stuff. And I'd be like, I'm doing a bunch of paperwork. All I'm doing is just filing papers. And cut to 10 years later, I can read. Before I send my contracts to my attorney, I can do my own first pass of it, because I learned that fresh out of college. Like, I learned how to read a contract and be like, oh wait, no, this makes you get this much at principal photography. So like I said, I'll read my deal terms first, and then I'll send it to my attorney, and I'll be like, this looked odd, check that out, highlight that, red mark that, and then send it back to me. So, although I need my attorney though, she's amazing. But so like I always say, like, God wastes nothing. So all of that year and a half of just doing of going through all that paperwork, it also taught me what a 10% EP fee is. It taught me what a production company fee is. It taught me all of those ins and outs of big picture producing. And then I went in-house and learned the importance of how many orders of water you get, and how many those little minutia things that really matter on the set. Because I don't want people walking around and talking about some ain't no water here. That's
right. Yeah. We don't need that. So can you walk us through a moment on a project where your voice as a producer really shifted the outcome, or really, helped with moving along the project?
Yeah, sure. I won't give the specific project, but but I was involved in a project, and let me try to
take your time. Take your time.
Project with I'll say with a lot of artsy smartsy people. I'll say that. Yeah. I'll say, but there were they came from very prestigious filmmaking institutions. And I went from intern to PA to coordinator to AP to producer, etc. And I built a career. I did not go to graduate school. I did go to film school for undergrad, but I'd worked at that point for about 14 years in a business at that point in time. So I approached producing from a very business standpoint. I did not approach it from a, let's, like, I approached it like, no, like, we need to stand on business. So like, this is marketing for the film, and this is the strategy for the film, and we need to all be managing social media, and we need to be doing this and da. And it was met with some nuanced conflict, I'll say. At one point I was told, Nasir, stop operates. Someone said, Nasir, this is art. This is not a competition. This is, this is art, and we're doing this as artists, and you're treating this like a competitive business. And I was like, well, this is a competitive business. I can't say which film it was, but it filmed it extremely well. I'll say that. Very, very, very well. And part of it was because I approached it from a business perspective. And it's art and commerce. It's the business of show. And the stronger you are at business, the more you get to show.
Yes. That's just the reality of it.
That's the reality of it. You can cut it, slice it, dice it any way you want to. But this is the entertainment business. It just is.
Yeah. I always say, like, what happens behind the scenes, it is always going to show up. It's always going to show up on the screen. It's always going to show up on the stage. And just, if you're pre-production, or if you're production team, or if the business of it is shaky, then it's going to always affect the product. Even if it has a great debut, moving past that, moving into, streaming sites and festivals, like, it's going to affect it. You can always tell.
Absolutely.
And I'm all about Show business. The business, the business, the business.
It's the business. I no longer even call it show business or entertainment business. I call it the business of show.
Man. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal that.
That's not mine. That's Lee Daniels. That's a fellow Philly brother.
Well,
He was the first person I heard say that. Where I was like, oh, the business of show, because that's what it is.
man. Well, now I'm gonna be saying it too.
There you go.
So I wanted to talk about representation and the pressure or the responsibility of that representation when it comes to your work. How do you balance, showing up as a producer, but also showing up, as a person of color, showing up in a way that really validates your voice and who you are?
Well, I think it starts with the content that I decide to produce. I think that's
Oh,
first.
yes.
So if the content is king, right? So stepping into a space where there's quality content, where there's inclusive content, where there's content that makes sense, that's the best fit for myself and my brand and what I want to promote and what I want to elevate. Because also, like, making a film, whether it's a short or a feature, like these are years in the making. Like
Yes.
these are year-long processes. Like, you don't just slap your name into a film unless you're throwing money at it. But you don't.
Right.
But the kind of producer that I am, I'm a boots on the ground, nuts and bolts producer. So this is like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years out of my life that I want to devote to it. So the content has to be right. And when I'm staffing, my staff has to look like what the world looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I often, one of the things I love about Ryan Coogler is that, like, he's been vocal about how women have been so essential to his workplace and his brand and in his filmmaking, and how women just add something very different. I know the exact same thing. I was raised by all women. My 3 best friends in the world are women. And women in particular, the attention to detail, they can see things that I just can't quite frankly see. They can predict things that I can't quite frankly predict. And so making sure that my set has an equal balance of men, women, Black, Latino, Asian, LGBTQ, etc. Like, making sure it really runs the gamut so that everyone can have us, and some good white folks too. Like,
Yeah.
don't twist it, like some, what I mean, like a really all inclusive set to make sure that everyone's voices can be heard, everyone can really be properly represented, and we can all work in unity. Like, we all have something to offer within our differences. So honoring that, celebrating that, and creating a healthy, safe work environment where everyone can really shine bright. It makes it all the more better.
Yes, and I love that. So I feel like indie producers who kind of are wearing multiple hats don't always understand the control and ability to make those decisions of the industry producer, because you are hiring, you are vetting, you are creating the crew that's going to bring the content to life. So I love that you, first of all, gave honor to women, because women are just very underrepresented behind the camera, behind the scenes. But also just making sure that the world is created to reflect the world of the piece of the content. I also won't name any names, but worked for several years producing a very well-known true crime show, and these were Black stories of murder, and outside of myself, there was nobody on the team that really, represented those stories when I first started, and by the time I finished, that changed, because it's so important that we have that representation when we're telling our stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, it's interesting because we are in this time where like it's almost like there's this grind and there's this need for like access and just getting higher and higher and higher, and chasing this big win. And so when I'm looking at your career, what I see is that you've never been one to just chase the big win, yet you keep winning. You keep you keep like making impact. What are your thoughts about chasing what's going to be the next big thing versus being really authentic?
I love that question, and I have a really great story to
Okay. Oh yeah.
So again, no names, but at about when I first got to LA, I had an opportunity to work on a piece of content that was didn't portray Black women in the most flattering light. I'll say that. And we were in the story room together, and they were like, Nasir, your stuff isn't gritty enough. You're not coming with the heat and da 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 da. And I said, okay, cool, got it. So I went home that night and I wrote the most horrific things that I could think of that the cast members could say to each other. I wrote the meanest, cruelest, nastiest thing I could think of. Came back the next day, showed it to my supervisor and producer, and the storeroom gave me a round of applause. And they said, we didn't think you had it in you. Good job. We're excited to see what you continue to come up with. And then I went into the hallway and I vomited. And I was so low key like mad at God because I was like, because the money was so good. The money was good. And I was with the popping kids. I'll say that. They popping out here. They getting money. They driving sports cars. They was popping in these streets. And I was like, I was getting sick. Like I was literally getting sick. I was vomiting. I was having anxiety attacks before I came into work. And I was like, oh, I spiritually cannot do this. And I was mad. I was like, Lord, just let me sell out. Let me just let me. And like God was just like, no, it's just not who you are. It's just not what I have for you. And I ended up having to leave the show because I was literally getting sicker and sicker.
Wow.
Like I just couldn't like heart palpitations, like could not breathe. Like it was getting really, really bad. And that was the last show in that kind of vein that I ever worked on. And I was like, I just, to each their own, right? There are people that do that and they're very successful. And I think that they're great at what they do. And I think God bless them. And and they can sleep at night. So that's their journey. And I had to learn what my journey was. And I had to learn like, oh, I don't do that. But it was so hard because when I tell you, I'm not going, I could be so much financially right now. Had I stayed on that track like Onyx, I was in the building.
Wow.
When we offline, I'll tell you which building it was.
Yes.
Building with the people. And I could have did it, but at the cost of my own soul, at the cost of my own heart, at the cost of like what I'm called to do. That's just not what I'm called to do.
Yes. And
So,
I think that is key.
That's how it started. That's how the trajectory of being so picky about what I work on and what I won't do or what I will do. That's how it started. Because like I had to physically get sick and be like, oh, I just can't do this. Yeah.
Wow. And I feel like sometimes God just has to do that. You know,
I
so
know, man, and God be annoying me. Like I love him, and I know he loved me more, but I love him. But I'll be like, just let me do this. But but he's made me a promise, and I know that he will fulfill it.
yes,
Oh yeah.
yes, yes, Lord, yes.
Mm.
Um, Can you so because this is a goal of mine to be Emmy nominated. Can you just take me to the moment when you found out that you could add Emmy nominated to your IMDb?
I was on set working with my friend, my good friend Shirley.
Uh-huh.
My girl Shirley, who just went viral. She's the girl that did the $10,000 for the dating coach.
Yeah.
That's my real friend. That's my sister right there. Um,
Oh,
and
hey Shirley.
yeah. And I'll hold my sister down. Y'all better stop talking about y'all better stop talking internet. Stop talking about my sister. That's my baby. That's my girl. Anyway, so I was on set with her actually,
Mhm.
and I knew that the nomination Nathan's our friend and our colleague, and
Yes.
he was the executive producer and director and writer director executive producer of the piece, and I was the lead producer. So I knew that I'd be checking the when the nominations come out. Like I'm not the guy that's be like, oh, I'm not that guy. Like
Yeah.
I'll be refreshing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was like, the nominations drop at 9 a.m. So I'm refreshing my phone. And I'm on the Daytime Emmy page. And then I go down. It really is surreal. And I scroll down, and it was like they had it where it's like they have the title of the project, and they just have like the number next to the number of nominations it got. So I saw All Boys Aren't Blue, and I saw the number one. And I was like, I know. I know. No. I was like, no. No. I was like, this. It was one of those moments where I was like, this doesn't happen. Like you pray for something, you dream of something, you work for something, you see
Right.
it happening. But when it actually happens, it was the same as like when I moved to LA. When it actually happens and I'm walking the streets, it's like, yo, this is crazy. So when I saw it and I clicked on it and I was like, outstanding daytime special, I was like, oh, I was like, yo, we did it. Like we did it. And Nathan was about to get on the flight. So I called, he was my first phone call. I called him right away. And I was like, we got it. We got it. He was like, we got what? We got what? I was like, we got the nomination. He was like, the Emmy? I was like, yeah. He was like, you playing? I was like, no. And I sent it to him. And he was like, he was freaking out in the airport. I'm freaking out on set. Then I called
Man.
my grandmother who's since passed. But my
Oh.
grandmother is and was the most dynamic woman in the world.
Oh.
But she always had extremely high expectations of me. She
Uh-huh.
was very proud of me, but it took a lot for her to say, I'm proud of you. And that day she was so proud that she couldn't believe it. And it is tough to impress her when it comes to me.
Wow.
Because she was all
Right.
like quick thing. I remember I showed my grandma like the starter house that I wanted to buy here in LA.
Yeah.
She looked
Uh-huh.
at the picture and she was like, you could do better than that. Like that's how she was with me. So she was to hear her be proud and impressed and not really
Mm.
believe it, that was a big moment. So I'm glad we got a chance to have that moment twice before she passed away. So yeah.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
beautiful.
And
It,
we had it 2 years in a row. So God is good.
God is good.
Yeah.
And specifically for All Boys Aren't Blue, to
Mhm.
me, that is so amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because of the content, because of the
Sure.
project. What did
Yeah.
that mean to you?
It meant a lot because, George Matthew Johnson is now officially the
Mm,
most banned author
right.
in the United States, I believe. They are officially, which is like, that's crazy. And the gag about that sidebar, I'm like, if you read the book, it ain't that. I'm like, the book.
Listen, it really isn't.
I'm like, what are
My
we?
mom read it.
Yeah, I'm like, the book ain't bananas like this. I'm like, what is like? Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but it meant a lot because it's a
yeah,
beautiful piece of work. you know, Matthew, I'll call them Matthew. I call him by the middle name, but Matthew worked so diligently on it. When I got the offer, I honestly, the first thing I did with Nathan, I was like, Matthew's involved, right? Did we not just like taking it? He was like, no, Matthew's involved. He was like, no, we good on that end. It was just so needed for the culture. It was so needed for the community. People that are so underrepresented and often ignored, and then who are often not the lead characters in their own stories. So that part was beautiful, but also the experience of it all. It was a really beautiful, divine experience. I'll share something. So it was January 6th was our shoot day, January 6th, 2021. So it was that January 6th. My best friend, whose house I'm at right now, she's right over there. She's phenomenal.
Hey, bestie.
So she was on Facebook going crazy about January 6th in DC, what was going on. And I was like, what is she? And that's so out of character for her to be like updating social media in real time. And I was like, what is going on? That morning, a close friend of mine had passed away, Mark Rashad Jones. And I saw it online. And he was a big supporter of mine. He was so immensely proud of me. And I had a drive. I was like a 45-minute drive to Burbank. So I was like, all right, now, so you got 45 minutes to cry. Mind you, I'm the lead producer of this film. So I'm the lead producer, so I got to pull it together. So I just knew that there were some elements that were happening on a spiritual sense, right? There were some elements happening between January 6th in DC, my beloved brother Mark passing away in DC at that time on January 6th, and his mother having to figure out how to get to her son who's passed in DC at that time. I knew that I was like, oh, there's something that's combating against the power of this film, and so I have to push through and get it done. And the film was for, you know, kings and brothers like Mark. You know what I'm saying? And so I knew that I had to push through. I knew, and my goal, and you know, Nathan and I are really close friends. He's like he is a big brother to me. My goal for that day was for him not to know that a close friend of mine had passed away. That was my goal. My goal for him was to get through the shoot, which I did, and to do it well, which we all did. And at the end of the day, that's when I let it all go. But I just I was like, we got to push through. We got to get this done. So I'm really proud of that content. I'm really proud of that film. It turned out amazingly. It's just from the text and the art and the performances and my brother Thomas Hobson, and that spawned, you know, he became a muse for me with the my pilot Gunkles that I ended up writing. He was in. I was like, oh, he's my art. He's the art character. So you know, work begats work. So All Boys on Blue was a really special project for me, and it will forever be, you know, my first Emmy nomination. But not my last.
But not your last.
Take that thing home one day too. We gonna because no one talks about, you know, it's a nuanced feeling being there. You all dressed up, your mama done flew out, and you don't win. You be like, oh. Okay. You know, it's a nuance, but it is what it is. It really is an honor to be nominated, but I like to win. It's fun.
Yeah, listen, and that is such producer talk right there.
I like to win. It's fun.
That is
Winning is fun.
talk.
Winning is a fun time. It just is.
Absolutely. Now, first of all, I want to jump into the writers' colony,
Sure.
because I mean,
listen.
I saw you post it on social media, and I was screaming because I'm just like, what? So talk to me about that. Oh,
girl. So, I mean, honestly, one of the best experiences of my life and career, hands down. Another really surreal moment, like another really, you ever wanted something so bad Like I wanted that thing. Like I was like, I'm gonna get in there. I'm like, y'all gonna let me in that building. Y'all don't know it, but like the way it all came about, that was my second time applying. They had switched out artistic directors, so I kind of didn't have a contact for the new person.
Right.
And the phenomenal Timby Banks was so gracious to allow me to shadow on Mara's new show, Forever.
Right. I cannot wait to see that.
Yeah, May 8th. May 8th. I was the shadow on episodes 104 and 106. And Timby is just I mean, an angel. And I'll share why I call her an angel. And actually I'll share it now. So the day that I was flying to, I'm getting all kind of personal. So the day that I was flying to, I got a call from my family, and it was like, things are not looking good for your grandmother, basically. That was May 3rd, 2024. So booked the flight to Philly, got on the airline, got on the flight to Philly, landed in Philly. I get a text from Timby on May 3rd, 2024 saying, hey, Netflix just approved you to shadow me when, I start Wednesday. She said you could do as many days as you want. You could do you could do one day, you could do all the days. And I was like, oh God, I'm doing all the days. So I knew my older sister had let me know. She was like, things are not looking good with my mom, and you need to get home. So I was in Philly, and I got the text from Timby. I'm rushing to the hospital to basically pull all the plugs and watch my mom pass away. Now my family, in my family, I'm known as like the worker. I was the golden child in the sense of like, they'd be like, Nas, you just work. You focus on work. Like you go to LA and you work. So we planning this funeral, one, because we like, my grandma, we want to get it done as fast as possible. My grandma ain't play that. She was a really proud woman. We had her in the fridge more than like y'all tried it. Like we don't do that to me. So we got it done. I think it was May 10th or May 11th, something like that. We wanted to get it done before Mother's Day too. Also, like my family was like, we need to get you back to LA. And sweet Timby, the angel that she is, she was like, well, she was like, take your time. If you can't do it this time around, you can catch me next time. I said, oh no, sweetie. No. Oh no. Oh no. Let's run this list down. Mara Barker Kill, Anthony Hemingway. Oh, I'm gonna be there.
Understood.
And my grandmother would fly down on a cloud and be like, I know you ain't wasting my tuition, not taking advantage of this opportunity. Like, I know you ain't finna fit in bed and I'm already dead. Like, if you don't get your ass up and go shadow this woman. So we get the funeral together, have a great funeral. I fly back to LA the day after Mother's Day. I did take a week just to kind of gather myself because I could not. My grandmother was my primary parent for context.
Yeah.
And, so I took a week and then I went to set. And so that's how I kind of got back into what I call the Maraverse. Or she calls it In the Land of Mara. And so, I mean, I walked on that set, A, with a mission to learn everything as I could as a director.
Yes.
B, to build community and make connections. And C, to get into the writers' colony. Like, that was my goal. I was like, who I need to talk to? Who I need to get to? I want. And I just when I tell you honest, I talk to everybody.
Yes.
From the PAs to the assistants to the direct, I talk to everybody, to the catering. Like I spoke to everybody because no real people can turn down kindness. You know what I'm saying? Like kindness is, and I love people. So I went in there with a mission, and the powers that be, I was able to connect with some of the powers that be, and then they they highly recommended me, and I was able to get in. I was really persistent. So I kept following up and I kept following up and I kept following up. And then when I got in, I was like, oh, like I'm in the dough. You got to show and prove. And so when I tell you, I wrote my heart out. Like I gave it everything I had. And it was everyone really enjoyed it.
Wow. I mean,
yeah, it was so to have her, to have Mara, to be in relationship with her, to have her read my script, to have her affirmation. I mean, like, also for even more context, Girlfriends was the last show. Girlfriends came out when I was 15, so that was the last show me and my grandmother, my aunt, as a family that we all watched together before, because I left the house at 19. So that was our last show together. So it was
Oh,
extra special. Like, it was like that colony. I knew that I was called to be there.
right.
It was really specific, because like I go
Yeah.
hard, but I don't go that hard. Like, I went hard
Right.
with that one, and I was
Right.
like I know I'm supposed to be there, and I know
Right.
that God and the universe and my grandmother wants me there. I knew
Mm.
something there for me, which is why I was so
Mhm.
happy about getting there. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, so it was a dream come true to have her read my script and just to be
Yeah.
in community with her and all of the other people there, because I've
Yeah.
amassed such beautiful community. Now I'll be with them. Now I'll be with them people every week, child. Table reads, fish and
I
scripts.
love it.
It was really, and then the space is amazing.
Oh. Oh.
The connections and the community is amazing. Getting to meet Sarah Finney Johnson and Reggie Rock Bythewood and Anthony Sparks and it's it's in Allison Fowles, and it's amazing. It's a beautiful residency. It's a beautiful space. I can't
Yeah.
speak more joyfully about it, and it's a dream come
Mhm.
true. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I know when I went for Nathan's read,
yeah.
and I just walking into the space, like, we
Mhm.
can't even really put into words what the space is
It's
like,
gorgeous. Yeah.
but just walking into it was
Mhm.
just like,
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
wow.
It's amazing. So yeah,
Yeah. So I am overjoyed for you. That is just
thank you.
amazing.
Thank
Um,
you.
so what I hear is, just being really persistent, really first being really clear, because I think you have to be clear.
Yeah, you have to be. Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, so for emerging producers,
Mhm.
r- writers, directors,
Mhm.
just emerging creatives, what advice do you have? We talk a lot about like making sure you get that experience and, leading with kindness, but as a business. But
Mhm.
what are just some practical ideas or tools that you can give to an emerging producer?
I would say I always say, I mean, this is, this is the Bible, but have faith and do the work. I think
Yes.
that's number one,
Hmm.
right? I think number two would be um set a date and get it done. Like, as a producer, I think sometimes we can sort of boggle ourselves down with being like, oh, well, I need 1 million to do this and I need 3 million to do that. And it's like the very first thing that I produced as an independent lead producer, we spent $1,500 on that. $1,500 and $1,500 and the love of Black mothers. I always say
Mm-hmm.
that was what we spent. It was a digital pilot called Air, and it was Etienne Maurice and Dominic Nash, who they are the sons of Niecy Nash and Shirley Ralph, and
Hmm.
it was like, Black mamas, will y'all do this right quick? And they was like, you know what I mean? Like, they was like, yeah, sure. And we put that thing together, and it turned out to be amazing. And it got us some traction,
Yeah.
as producers and actors, and that is what got me into Project Involve, which got me to Black Boy Joy. And so
Hmm. Hmm.
when Black Boy Joy got me to All Boys Aren't Blue, and then so forth and so on. And so I would say, don't be afraid to be scrappy too. Like,
Yeah.
work what you got. Like, look around and work what you got. Like, for Air, for example, um, we ain't had no lights to shoot at night, so we rewrote everything to make it day.
Mm.
I was like, make all the scenes day. They was like, but it's a night scene. We gotta make it day. We don't have no lights
Mm.
in
That's
the house.
good.
So
That's
we can make it.
good.
And you start to get scrappy, and you start to realize that, like, every problem has a solution. Every single
Hmm.
problem has a solution. It really
Absolutely.
does. Now it's about whether
Absolutely.
you execute it or not. That's the big question. Like, can you execute said solution to solve the problem? If you really look around, and also if that's where the faith comes in. If you walk by faith and not by sight, and if you kind of looking around and being like, all right, what do I got? What do I have? What can I do? Ava Devaney has this amazing speech with Film Independent from 2014 on YouTube where she talks about like the smelly coat and getting and taking the smelly coat off and being resourceful and being diligent and basically getting out the mud if you want to get something made. So when you start looking around, you can ask my best friend. I made this short called Your Love Is King about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and I came in here and I just start taking stuff off her walls.
Listen, I know. Tell the people.
I was like, oh, this is gonna be production design. And she was like, what are you doing? And she has a gorgeous home. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna just take this girl. I'm gonna bring it back on Monday. Thank you so much. But I'm like art pieces. I ain't finna spend no money on the art pieces. Who got it? You know what? My best friend, she got a nice house. We're gonna rate her house.
Oh my goodness.
So just being like having that level of scrappiness and being like, okay, wait, who has this? Doesn't so and so have a pool that I can shoot at? Oh yeah, doesn't Onyx's sister have a pool that we could? Yeah, she do. Call Onyx, see if she could do that. All right, bet, cool, let's do that. Wait, don't Nathan have this? Okay, wait, let's call him and do that. It's about tapping in. And also God in the universe will bend to you and be like, oh, you want this, so let me make a way for it.
Yes. I mean, I think I really think that's the core, actually.
Yeah. Producing is a faith walk. Producing is a faith walk. Because it takes a lot of faith to not see something at all.
Right.
Like you don't have no semblance of this thing happening. It takes a lot of faith to create something.
Yes.
It's a lot of faith. Like it takes a lot of faith to be like, I can't, I'm gonna write this thing. I'm gonna envision this thing. I'm gonna get the money for this thing. I'm gonna hire people. I'm gonna shoot it, and I'm gonna edit it, and I'm gonna color it, and I'm gonna sound mix it, and I'm gonna distribute it, and I'm gonna see what happens.
Yes,
that takes a lot of faith because you don't know how that thing gonna turn out. Because I done had some things where I'll be like, oh, this ain't.
Listen, I tell you,
it's gonna be.
I tell people
I've had some things where I'll be like, oh, this turned out real good.
Yep. I remember this one project, you know, we invested a lot of money and this was like actually a sequel. And I remember standing in the middle of the chaos and having to make a choice, you know, and sometimes the choice isn't always to just push. Sometimes the choice is to stop and move on, you know? And I think that's wise. And I think that's faith too, because some projects are so like you feel it in your spirit to push. But when you feel it in your spirit to stop, you got to listen, you know, because God is gonna, you know, knock you over the head.
That was the project. That was the project where I was vomiting in the hallway, where I was like, I can't do this. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it.
Yeah. So tell me, what is next for you? What I know you have some things that you're working on. Talk about what is next. Share with the people.
Yes. So I have a film come together. I can't. That will be. It'll be on a festival circuit this year. I can't share where it will be premiering at. I don't want Nathan mad at me. I have another film, Orion's Quest, that will be on a festival circuit as well this year. We're waiting to see where that will premiere. I will be doing I'm currently rewriting my pilot that I wrote in the colony called Like Father, Like Son. So I'm doing a rewrite of that, and then I will be taking that out to the market as well. And eager to get staffed in a writer's room as a staff writer and get my first episode of episodic television as a writer. Going into pre-production on a short that I'll be writing and directing. And also, like I said, I shadowed on Forever, and that show comes out May 8th. Again, I was privileged to shadow Tim B. Banks. And so that will be premiering next week. So that's super exciting. And Yeah, just a lot more producing, a lot more writing, a lot more directing. Really, but I'm really focused on episodic. Like that's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
really focused on getting into that episodic bag. And so yeah, that's something that I wanted to do for so long. And I think
Yeah.
I doubted myself as a writer for so long. And now after the colony, there's been an awakening and an
Mm-hmm.
unlocking. There's been a disbanding of my limitations as a writer.
Mm.
I'm like, oh no, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Like so
Yes.
I'm no longer in a space of like, oh well, I'm not fast enough and I'm not this. No, that's a lie. That's a lie from the pit.
Mm.
So I'm really focused heavily on episodic now.
Wow, that
As
is
well as producing,
good.
I will still be
Yeah, yeah.
producing.
Oh, yes, yes.
Because people like I had somebody say to me the other day, they was like, so are you just gonna be focused on writing? I said, you can't just focus on one thing in this climate, in this industry anyway.
Right. Even if you wanted to,
Even if
you
you wanted
you
to.
you can't. You can't. But I also
You can't do that. So no, I'm a multi hyphen. I'm a producer, writer, director. My
yes.
ultimate goal is to have a fully formed out production company where we are, producing amazing content and I'm, producing on Broadway and I'm producing films.
Yes.
I'm writing and I'm show running on this, or I'm co-show running on this because I got X amount of shows to go through, and then I got some unscripted stuff and I got some scripted stuff. I don't
Yes.
believe in any limitations.
Mm.
When I look at Will Packer and Mara and Charles King and like those are my like and Debbie Allen, like those are my North Stars where I'm like, oh
Mm.
yeah, I wanna cultivate a career like that. Mike Nichols and Steven Spielberg, like they Tyler Perry, like they are my heroes, and so those are the folks that I aspire to be like.
Oh, and I see it. I mean, it already your career is already pointing absolutely to that North Star, and you are the goals for so many people. You are right where you are and what you're doing. Um so I thank you for joining me on my birthday
Yeah,
on
I
the
was
first.
I was just about to say you beat me to a happy birthday.
Thank
It's so
you.
good to have you just in the world and have your presence and be in community and connection with you. And I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you. I thank God
Thank
for
you.
you. And the best is yet to come for both of us. So the sky's
Yeah.
we out here.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, before we go, just let everyone know where they can find you and keep in touch with you.
Yes, absolutely. I am at Nasir Kenneth Ferebee on Instagram, Nasir Kenneth Ferebee on Facebook, Nasir Kenneth Ferebee on LinkedIn, Nasir K Ferebee on TikTok. My website, nasirkferbee.com. And I think, and also Nasir Kenneth Ferebee on Threads as well. So I'm really easy to find.
Yes, yes,
But
indeed.
don't pull up on me crazy because I'm still from Southwest Philly. I'm easy to find, but keep it cute. Okay.
Oh, too
Man,
funny. Well,
yeah.
thank you so much. This was absolutely amazing. I couldn't think of anyone better to, have the first producers table with. And I really thank you and continued prayers for you.
Yes. Continue prayers for you as well, and then we'll get on the phone. It's supposed to see you later on.
Absolutely.
All right, peace. You have a good day. Thank you.
All righty. Oh, goodness, guys. Oh, that was just such a phenomenal conversation. I love Nasir, and I just want to thank him so much for sharing his wins, sharing the process, the mindset, because that's really what it is all about. So please, I'll be back on May 15th with another episode of the Producers Table. I have the amazing. Wait, I'm not gonna say who's on, but you're gonna want it. You're going to want to check out that episode because this is a phenomenal producer, showrunner, director of some of your favorite work who's gonna come in have a seat at the producer's table. But before I go, I just want to remind you guys to connect with Story and Strategy, the Producers Lab, because this is bigger than this show. This is a full ecosystem for emerging, expanding, and multi-hyphenated producers who they're figuring it out, or they're trying to grow bigger, or they just really want some strategy to go with their story. So we know you've got ideas, we know you've got the work ethic, but let's work on the plan. And that's where Story and Strategy comes in, because we're not just about the inspiration, we're also about the blueprint. So head on over to storyandstrategy.com, get your free guide, get on the mailing list, especially if you're interested in any of the activations that are coming up. One of the things that I really took away from Nasir is make it happen where you are, however you need to, and be really clear about your vision. Be really intentional about where you put your energy and the content that you produce, and just go for it. Go. When he said it's about faith, y'all know that's speaking my language. Because I am all about the faith walk. And I was just really very happy to hear him say that. So, guys, once again, thank you so much for joining me on the first of many episodes of The Producer's Table. I will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.